What's up, Arizona? You're watching 12 Sports tonight on 12+. I'm Cameron Cox. We're going to catch up with the rest of the crew here in just a moment. Every week, we appreciate you coming to hang out with us, talking all things Arizona sports. As always, we're going to tell you the important stories, the ones that matter, and introduce you to some people that inspire. This is 12 Sports Tonight, Arizona's OG and longest-running sports show, streaming on 12+. Here we go.
Who should be at the top of this head coaching list, and what's the wish list look like so far?
You know, it's funny that you asked that because I care more about who interviews first. And number one is John Harbaugh. And the reason why is he recently said that he's going to limit the teams that he interviews with. That already tells me, does he respect this organization enough or its ability to win to even interview? It's a huge mark against both Kyler Murray and Michael Bidwill if John Harbaugh doesn't even interview. My number two, I love Brian Flores. I think he's deserving of a head coaching position. It didn't end well in Miami, and the owner eventually was thought of as a guy that was losing on purpose. There were accusations about that, although the arbitrator disagreed. Brian Flores deserves a spot, and I think he's a good head coach. And I think my number three choice, I would shock the world. I would ask Kurt Warner if he's interested in this job. I think the man is brilliant. I think he's an excellent coach. I think he knows offense like somebody I've never talked to in my life. And the question is, can he teach it? And my answer to that question is yes. I'm not saying he'd be interested, but I think you should interview him.
In other words, Lena, we're going to call Kurt Warner tomorrow.
Yes. Well,
yes, please. Yes, please.
He'll be nearby if he needs to be called upon. But you mentioned Michael Bidwill, Monty Ossenfort as well, answering a lot of tough questions after JG was fired. Was there anything that was said this week, though, that gives you a sense of confidence in Ossenfort remaining as the GM and being able to turn this around? Because it seems like this is a prove-it year now for Monty.
It does, and the answer to your question is no. Now, it's one of the questions where I don't understand it. I'm not for the firing of Jonathan Gannon, but if you're going to do it, I really don't understand why you keep Ossenfort too. If you're not going to judge JG with the new quarterback and you have a general manager that's had some pretty good strikeouts in the draft, not totally, this last draft looks pretty good, but his first round picks have been very below par. Why trust him with another situation? And I would go back to my Kurt Warner suggestion. If you're going to make a choice in the 2025 draft that has to do with the future of this organization at quarterback, why not have a Hall of Fame quarterback who cares about this city and this organization, have him be involved, whether it's his team president or his head coach, or hire a defensive coach and ask Kurt if he would be the offensive coordinator? Yes, I think that highly of Kurt Warner. Monty Ossenfort, again, I wouldn't be in favor of firing him, but I don't like the idea of firing one and not the other. That seems like an even worse decision. So I'm not all that excited right now about this coaching search unless I hear John Harbaugh is interviewing.
If you listen to Michael Bidwill and Monty Ossenfort, they clearly blamed JG for some of the developmental problems that this team have. But a lot of blame goes to Monty and the way he stacked this roster together.
What's going on with John Harbaugh?
Mark, listen, when it was a week ago today when the Cardinals fired head coach Jonathan Gannon, and you were just trying to figure out who the next names were. And you liked the list that the Cardinals are putting together, some interesting names on there. But then when the Ravens fired John Harbaugh, you were like, that's the guy we got to get. He's the biggest name on the market. And the Cardinals, here we go, spoke to him. ESPN reporting the Cardinals are one of 5 teams to have preliminary talks, phone conversations with the former Ravens head coach, John Harbaugh. Harbaugh is at the top of everyone's wish list. He was the 3rd highest paid coach last season, about $17 million. Hiring him would send just a bolt of lightning through this fan base and a serious message that you want to win. As of now, ESPN is saying the only team he's interviewed with is the Falcons. Guys, this would just be the coolest thing. I've been saying this all day. It's like asking the prettiest girl in school, like, hey, you want to go on a date? Might be out of her league. You know, she might be out of your league. Well, she might not have a chance, but at least you're going to ask.
She's going to say, I need $18 million.
Is that what she's going to say? I need $18 million. What's your quarterback situation?
That's kind of real life.
Yeah, there we go. Listen, there's a lot of people out there that thought John Harbaugh wouldn't be interested in taking the Cardinals job or even talking with them to begin with. You know, you have some questions about ownership in the past.
Yeah.
Quarterback situation, what is it? You know, is Kyler coming back? Are they going to move off him? They don't know. So there's some instability there. But to me, and Cardinal fans were saying, why haven't they talked to him? Why haven't they talked to him? That says something bad about the organization. Well, here's the deal. They talked to him.
Yeah.
And we'll see if that interview pans out. But the biggest name out there is having conversations with your team about your opening. Michael Bidwell said, listen, the decision to fire JG was about wins and losses. This is how you win back your fan base, by talking to the biggest name out there.
That guy,
and going and see where it goes from there.
didn't he have some unbelievable streak of getting the Ravens to the playoffs?
18 years at Baltimore, in the playoffs almost all the time, Mark.
Wow.
Of course, won a Super Bowl too as well. Like, if you're hiring coaches,
That's it
That's-
right
that's
there.
that's the guy.
Yeah. Okay.
then, you know, 17, 18 million, that's a lot of money. We'll see. We'll see if that's how it all pans out. We'll see if he says yes to the prom and go from there. Here's the rest of the list, guys. They interviewed former Broncos defensive coordinator Vance Joseph and Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. They also plan to interview 49ers DC Robert Saleh this week. So far, they've requested interviews with 11 candidates. 5 of them on that list right there have head coaching experience. Meanwhile, former head coach Jonathan Gannon has significant interest from around the league. He's going to interview with the Cowboys and Commanders, maybe to be their next defensive coordinator. He's also going to interview with the Titans, maybe to be their next head coach. Interesting, right? Gannon was, of course, coordinator with the Eagles before taking the Cardinals job. Guys, that doesn't surprise me. I figured JG, listen, he believes in a lot of good things. I thought he was a good coach. Just didn't work here. Didn't win. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if he has a lot of interest around the league. Remember, he led the Eagles to the Super Bowl as their defensive coordinator, which is why the Cardinals were so much interested in him, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he gets interest from around the league.
Maybe pick a coach right here, right now.
Here we go.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
He's got it.
Obviously, if you heard the radio show, I know everything. So yeah,
Yes. Well, if you don't know, he's on Arizona Sports 98.7 radio, always hearing the reaction from fans after the game. But what has been the reaction from fans or from your circle?
Oh gosh, Lena, it had to be done. Look, I know some Cardinal fans were surprised when the announcement came down. There were credible reports beginning in November and into December that Jonathan Gannon would be back for next season. And there were credible reporters speculating locally and nationally that Gannon would be back. But at the end of the day, and this is what I told people on that post-game show time and time again, the optics of what this looked like in November and December were going to be a whole lot different than what those optics were going to look like in early January if they were 3-14 and they had lost 14 of their last 15 games. You don't survive that. Mike Bidwell here made the decision he had to make. Jonathan Gannon and his staff were overmatched too many times during the course of his tenure here. We can talk about the losses. Mike and Monty certainly talked about the losses as well. This is an exasperated fan base. I think Mike Bidwell listened to the fan base. You know, he's got paying customers, and they were not happy. But it's not just about appeasing the fan base. Jonathan Gannon and his staff did not do a good job, guys. I mean, they had winnable games before the injuries hit. Couldn't figure out a way to win those games. And then once the injuries hit, they couldn't find a way to compete because they were outmanned, and they lost the headset battle time and time again.
I agree with you. I think Michael Bidwell definitely listened, Tim, to that fan base. You heard him say this is about wins and losses. JG and his staff didn't win enough. So now moving forward, can they get the big name out there? Will he take it a step further? Will Michael Bidwell take it a step further and show fans that this really is about wins and losses and maybe go get a big name?
I mean, if you're talking about John Harbaugh, it's not going to happen. I mean, a lot of Cardinal fans, when the Harbaugh news broke, hit the social media circuit and said, this is the guy the Cardinals have to get. And they're not wrong, but John Harbaugh is going to have options, guys. I mean, and the Cardinals are not going to be high on his list. In fact, if you read the tea leaves, they're not going to be on his list at all. I mean, here's a guy with options. He's won a Super Bowl. I think for the Arizona Cardinals, we can talk about ownership and the history of the Bidwell family, their willingness to spend what it takes to win, the NFLPA report cards, and all the stuff that kind of, hurts this franchise from a perception. And maybe perception is reality, and maybe reality is reality. But again, the quarterback situation, for a guy like John Harbaugh here, he has options. He's going to look at situations. Where can I go win? Where's there a quarterback in place? Maybe Jackson Dart's not the guy in New York, but hey, let me tell you this. The Green Bay Packer job may be open in a couple days. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles job may be open in a couple of days.
So there could be some more big names.
I mean, so the Cardinals are going lower and lower on John Harbaugh's list. So I don't think it's a matter of would Mike Bidwell pay John Harbaugh. It's a matter of John Harbaugh has no interest in this job.
They're not there yet as a franchise. They got some things to figure out.
Well, I'm curious, what would make this job desirable for a coach? Whether they have experience or they're looking for their first job at that level, what makes Arizona desirable?
Well, it's a great place to live.
Besides the weather,
I mean,
right?
you know, hey, Lena, anybody will tell you this who's covered this league for a long time and who's worked in the league. It's one of 32. All right, somebody's going to want this job and be excited to get it. Now, it doesn't mean you always have to go out and get the young coordinator who's never done it before. If Matt LaFleur were to get let go, maybe that's a guy that you would target. Sure. Mike McCarthy, a lot of people are down on Mike McCarthy. I think McCarthy, much like LaFleur actually, is a high floor, low ceiling guy. He's going to get you wins, but what is he going to do in the playoffs? But I got to tell you right now, for the Arizona Cardinals, winning 9, 10, 11 games and making the playoffs sounds pretty good to me. Yes. So and Vance Joseph actually technically is a retread as well after what happened to him in Denver back just about 8 years ago. Yeah, you know, let's talk about Vance Joseph. You guys kind of gave the rundown on the list, and maybe that list will grow. The Cardinals certainly have prioritized at least taking a look at the coordinators within the division, right? LaFleur, Shula, Saleh, Kubiak, and maybe there's some institutional knowledge they feel can benefit them.
Sure.
I like that.
From plucking somebody from the division. If you can't beat them, get them to join you, and maybe they have the secrets on how to beat McVay and Shanahan. But Vance Joseph's an interesting candidate, guys, only because obviously didn't go well for him in Denver in 2017 and 18. He won 11 games and got fired. He was here, obviously. He was Cliff's defensive coordinator for a few years, 2019 to 2022. But he's grown. And I talked to people that are close to the Bronco organization this morning. What are the pros and cons of Vance Joseph? The answer was simple. He's learned a lot since his first stint as the head coach there in Denver. He believes in building a defense from the inside out. I think we need some of that there. The players love him, which is actually also a con when you talk about Vance Joseph, because is he too nice? Sure. That's what the source in Denver told me today. Is he too nice to be a head coach? Players love him, but also Vance Joseph is a guy that has been around the block, and I think if he has learned from his first stint, it could be a guy that that he'd want the job and that the Cardinals would want him. I don't love it personally, but keep an eye on Vance Joseph.
All right, Tim. Listen, real quick.
Yeah.
Was this you last night, by the way? Were you reacting this way to the Bears win?
Yeah.
Nobody gets hype like Jarvis.
Yeah, our good buddy Jarvis.
That's Jarvis, huh?
Yeah, Tim. I know you're a fan, right, of the Bears?
Yeah, you know, I didn't have my Walter Payton jersey on last night, but
did you do a jersey
my
switch
son
at
and I,
halftime?
yeah, I know I should have put. Actually, I got home at halftime. I was at a basketball game, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll put the game on, you know. But I mean, it's 21-3, it's 21-6 going into the fourth quarter. I'll say this about the Bears: when it becomes a sandlot game in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Caleb Williams, look out.
Yeah. I love it. Lil Wayne didn't love the results of the game.
Jarvis is
big pass.
That's not even a McMahon jersey. Who's on the back of that thing? Who is that?
I don't know.
I know he made the switch, though, because it wasn't working in the first half. But then
he had a different jersey on in the first half?
There we go.
Name any business in the world where you leave sunny Arizona, head to a place that it's warmer, sunny Miami, and one day later you then fly to Detroit. I don't know who does that in the real world, and yet that's what the Suns are facing on a 6-game road trip. And the reason why this is so big is when you play Eastern Conference teams, you only play them twice a year. But for some strange reason, the NBA really stuck it to the Suns, and they play almost every team again as soon as they get back. So the Knicks, for an example, they're on this road trip. They just got done playing the Knicks. Detroit's the number 1 seed in the East right now. They go to Detroit in game 2 of this road trip. Then they return home, and they got Detroit soon thereafter. Brooklyn, the 76ers. Miami is game 1 of the road trip, and I believe they're either game 1 or 2 of the next homestand. So that means the coaching staff is going to see this, and then they're going to know in a week or week and a half we're playing the same team. What adjustments are you going to make? What worked? What didn't work? How are you going to outcoach another coaching staff? That's like playoff basketball, and we don't normally talk about the playoffs in the middle of January, but that's what this month will feel like.
Best part about watching this team so far, Dougie, is what?
It's just how correct BG and Jordan Ott were in changing the culture and the attitude of this organization. They got the coaching hire right. Don't forget, it feels like the entire career of Devin Booker has been with the wrong coaches. And now, finally, after all this time, they've got the coach right. They've got the GM right. It seems like everything is trending in the correct direction. And I would say number two is how much they nailed the Mark Williams trade. I mean, I didn't like it either. I didn't like giving up another first-round pick. I didn't mind the trade. I wanted him. I just didn't want to spend that much on him. And then game in and game out, he proves he's exactly the right fit for this organization. And then let's go back to Friday night and the Grayson Allen play. In all seriousness, when have you ever seen someone out-hustle Mikal Bridges? Right. That never, ever happens. And yet that's the mantra of this team right now. High basketball IQ play for Grayson Allen on Friday night. High IQ win. This team is just plain fun, but they're fun because of their work ethic and their intensity, and that's how the game is expected to be played.
But we are so far removed from joking about alignment. That's
grit,
the crazy.
Oh, yes.
We joked about it at the beginning of the year, and now they're aligned. We assume they're aligned. We don't even joke about it.
Nobody wants to admit that they were right. It's better than the famous Josh Burns organizational advocacy from the Diamondbacks days, but it's exactly what's happened. They are aligned, and give credit to Devin Booker, because a lot of superstars could have easily said, it's time for me to go. I'm not going through this again. Who are these people that you're bringing in? Colin Gillespie is my point guard. You know what? And yet, to a man, they have crushed every signing that they have brought in. Ryan Dunn's second quarter was just phenomenal basketball. Somebody every night steps up for this team, and Brooks and Booker are there every single night. This is fantastic basketball to watch, and yes, Cam, they are aligned.
Jamari Bouye missed tonight's game again. He's still going through it in the league's concussion protocol. Just a little adversity in a professional career that's really been defined by it. Jake Garcia has more in tonight's Suns Jam session.
A concussion on a two-way contract could be the nail in the coffin, but Jamari Bouye is no stranger to this headspace. The path might not be clear, yet the fog always seems to vanish. Bouye has been a revelation for Phoenix, an out-of-nowhere story that the Suns didn't see coming.
To be completely honest, I had never heard of him before he got to the team. That's my apologies. I got to do more research.
But those who know Bouye best aren't one bit surprised.
We all knew pretty quickly he wasn't going to be with us for long.
It wasn't a one game. It wasn't a two game. It's like it's been a month now.
Not shocked at all that he is capitalizing this opportunity.
5 G League coaches.
He knows he belongs. He feels like he belongs.
Who say Bouye's been banging on the door for years.
It just shows the fortitude of his resilience.
Kasib Powell coached Bouye first and for the longest. Well read on Jamari's journey.
He had one Division I scholarship. He went undrafted. He had to play in the G League. Like, all those things are being told that you're not there yet and you got to keep working.
In 16 games with the Sioux Falls Skyforce, he saw Bouye treat it not as a burden, instead a blessing.
Bouye draws contact and count it.
You get told no once or twice, it kind of discourages you. It stops your drive, your motor a little bit. But with him, man, he never stops.
Bouye had no time to stop. Extra breaths were wasted energy. He played 2 games for Jim Moran in the Rip City Remix in 2023.
I think guys that play in the G League have an appreciation for, the real grind.
Only to go back to Sioux Falls and play against Moran that same year.
There was no doubt he was going to let me know, hey, I'm going to give you guys a quick 25 and 8 and send you guys out of here. You shouldn't have let me go.
There were 4 games spent with Jacob Chance and the Austin Spurs at the start of 2025.
The talent was there. It was just whether he was going to find a spot that really needed what he could bring to the table.
6 games with Benno Udrih and the Wisconsin Herd in March.
I think all the teams saw something in him, but just the timing wasn't right for him.
Bouye with the booyah!
He signed with Paul Jesperson and the Valley Suns in November, and finally, the shoe fit.
It's a lot of guys who, have a chip on their shoulder a little bit, feel like they have something to prove.
5 G League teams and 11 total teams in fewer than 4 years. sacrificing a higher salary overseas to see through a spot in the NBA.
He just believed, and I'm happy he did.
It's been one battle after another for Bouye.
Being looked over a few times, I'm sure that fuels him.
But now no longer a blind spot to Devin Booker.
The definition of, taking advantage of your opportunity.
With the Suns, Bouye has found the light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm so happy that he's found a place that values his skill set.
I think they're going to be in a position where they have to figure it out, the roster spot for him.
You're not supposed to have favorites, man, but he's one of my favorites.
Cam, I'm still trying to picture exactly how it even happens. I mean, I think there are very few high school games that even get to 100 points ever. And tell us this story.
Very few high school games add up to 100 points, and here we are here in Arizona, where a kid from our city, our valley, scores 100 points in a basketball game here for Maryville High School. Largest total points ever scored in Arizona history. Adrian Stubbs is the guy. They beat Kofa last night. Just take us through it. 100 points in a game. How'd you do it?
Well, I think before, scoring 100, it led up to all the time in the gym. Thanks to this guy especially, Coach Beltran and Coach Smith, they really helped me develop. So, without all the time of me developing, hitting those shots in the gym, staying after night, or going in the morning, early in the morning, I think all my shots were just flowing, all my shots were just falling, and that night was a night that I could have, I did it.
Adrian, as the shots are falling, what's going through your mind? Were you doing math in your head?
The scoreboard was my math. It was my equation. So I wasn't really thinking the whole time. I was just, thinking of ways that I could score, thinking of ways that, that I can get to the basket and just keep facilitating. So, yeah.
What's crazy about this, so he had 70 points at halftime, 30 points after three, another 30 points in the third. They pulled you after three quarters. Did you want to keep going?
No.
Okay.
No,
I was tired.
I was okay. I was cramping up a little bit, but I wanted to see my teammates get some burn. So, drove all the way 3 hours to Kofa. I didn't want them to just drive 3 hours for no reason. So,
Coach Smith, when did you know this was going to be a special night for Adrian?
Probably about, he scored the first 5 baskets, so he had 10 points, right off the rip. Maybe one of them was a 3, so it was a little bit, he got cooking. And then when that second unit went in, and they immediately started passing him the ball and him the ball alone, and he was the only one taking shots, we were like, oh, man. And he was making all the shots he was taking. It was really special.
Coach, how about afterwards, the celebration, the 100 points? I know your phone's been blowing up all day. Just what has it meant to you?
It's meant a lot for our school, a lot for our team, just because we've been through so much. And so to see the positive side of things, it's phenomenal for our kids. They deserve it. And that's what we want the story to be, is about not only how special he was on that particular night, but our entire team and our school community, and not to be about the other school and kind of they didn't score, they didn't do this. They did a phenomenal job. They have a great coach. It's his first year there. He's doing a hell of a job, and it's unfortunate that they had to lose and some of the negative comments. So I called him less than 2 hours ago just to kind of wish him well and then give him some resources and stuff. And
there we go, guys. Adrian Stubbs, 100 points. Guys, give it up. Come on, give it up. There we go. We're still buzzing about the D-backs, right, and adding Nolan Arenado. Listen, give Mike Hazen a lot of credit for what they were able to do, getting a top-notch third baseman to kind of round out that infield too as well. They keep finding creative ways to upgrade this baseball team, and we finally got a chance to hear from the new D-back today. Nolan Arenado wanted to be here, the all-star. Get this, put the D-backs way high on his trade list recently here. So remember, he had to waive that no-trade clause to come here. He has simply put one of the best third basemen, if not the best, in baseball history. He'd be a Hall of Famer today if he stopped playing.
Really?
Cardinals, by the way, picking up most of his contract. The soon-to-be 35-year-old has some Valley ties. Get this. He was committed to play at ASU out of high school before he decided to go straight to the pros, and he hated the D-backs for that beating they put on him in the Rockies back in the 2017 wild card game.
Close to home is always nice. I'm from Orange County. That's great. It's only an hour away. Easy for the family. Arizona is always great. Has a lot of great places to eat. I've always, when I used to play there, we used to go crush a lot of great places. And then there's a lot of good golf too. But, like I said, it's just close to home. And obviously the baseball team's great. Playing indoors, I think is going to feel great. That's the most important thing on the baseball side. But, like I said, I've been there, I've had spring training there for, almost 12 years or however long I was in Colorado, including the minors. So, I know the area really well. It'll feel like a second home in a sense because I've just been there so many times.
Remember, the D-backs and the Rockies share a spring training facility. So
Yeah.
he's with the Rockies, knows where to park, knows where to go. All
Good places to eat.
Yeah,
You know,
you got to find out his favorite places.
He sounds like a guy who's like, man, I just want to live in Arizona. I want to play. And there's a lot of baseball players who feel that way. He brought up Chase Field and playing indoors. Listen, there's no secret. He struggled at the plate last year, but he believes, and the D-backs believe, it will help him a lot playing in kind of a right-handed hitting friendly ballpark in Chase Field, and he can maybe have a resurgence too as well. Pitchers and catchers report to spring training in a month. Ketel Marte going to be on the D-backs roster. The team deciding not to trade their all-star second baseman. A source telling 12 Sports the team just didn't offer enough out there, right? Arizona trading away Jake McCarthy to the Rockies for a top pitching prospect. McCarthy played 5 seasons at Arizona and was up and down. Finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting in 2022. But to start 2025, he started without a hit in his first 24 bats. So what's next, Mike Hazen?
We are still in the process of trying to add to our pitching staff, bullpen. Starting, whether it's depth, whether it's jumping right into the rotation, is still the main area of focus. We're gonna continue to look to address our position player club too. I think there's a couple bats that we probably need to add in some form or fashion to complement the guys that we have.
D-backs now turn their attention to finding a closer and a right-hand hitting first baseman, maybe named Paul Goldschmidt. All right, Doug Franz back with us. Ketel Marte sticking around the desert. Doug, how awkward is it going to be once spring training rolls around?
You know, that's a great question. It feels like part of the reason why a lot of guys got really frustrated him at the end of the season because in the middle of the season is they were worried about the stretch run. Well, some of those guys are gone now. So it's really kind of a question for Merrill Kelly and some of the other players that are either back or returning. How did you feel about Ketel last year? And if Marte is definitely staying, then he's got a lot of work to do in spring training right from the beginning of the year. Show this organization and this fan base that you are substance over style. Show your teammates that winning is more important to you than how you are perceived, than how you look, than the colors that you're wearing, and all of these other things. The flash of Ketel Marte, to me, has always been more important than the actual substance. I think the organization, if they heard this, to be fair, would disagree with me. But I want to see Ketel Marte play through an injury. I want to see him lead. I want to see him be aggressive and focused every game. And if he does that, all is forgiven. If he doesn't, then I would restart these trade rumors, and I don't think he'd be around in the All-Star break if he doesn't start bringing a level of intensity that he's not known for.
That'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching 12 Sports tonight on 12 Plus. Same time, same place. Next week, we will see you right back here after Sunday Night Football on 12 News for 12 Sports Locker Room and, of course, 12 Sports Tonight